Kids building snowmen with COVID masks. That's too bad. It's like they're having. I'm just videotaping.
Technically, I'm not allowed to let you do that.
Oh, okay.
Because
I'm just.
permission.
So that little altercation back there. Now that I'm back home and I've had a chance to think about it, it's the perfect example of what I've been trying to hammer home over and over again with my, well, beginning with my NWO 101 series on how all this COVID nonsense is being used to divide us, to dehumanize us, to make us all untrusting of one another during a time when politics has divided this nation like never before. We are more divided than I think we've ever been in our history. And I don't know about you, but as a creative, artistic individual who values individualism and values freedom of expression, freedom of thought, this whole climate of COVID, this religion that they're institutionalizing, fear-based religion, this cult of COVID, okay, let's just call it for what it is. It's really stifling and it's really hard to breathe in this climate that they're creating for us to live into, for us to live in. They're creating this fear climate, this new normal, this new reality of fear-based hyperemotionalism, distrust for our fellow man, for our neighbor across the street, for a guy just trying to get some B-roll film, you know, videotaping from afar some kids out playing in the snow trying to make snowmen, out in an open field by a busy highway. I mean, I get it. If I was wearing these shades, I might have been a little excess creepy. And it might have still been a little creepy, but it's not like I'm hiding in a creeper van across the street with a big telephoto lens on, trying to snap pictures of little kids, you know. I'm out in the open. I'm just strolling, walking right up to this adult lady who must have been one of the parents, I assume. But yeah, in this new fear climate it's been brewing for a while, right? Like, we're of the generation of the 9/11 terrorist attacks and the ongoing war on terror and the continual, you know, chasing men around in caves, witch hunt that was, and, you know, homegrown terrorism everywhere. Can't trust anybody, you know, especially these guys with the light skin pigmentation. Definitely can't trust those guys. But so the definition is always shifting, right? It's always, you can't put your finger on it, and you can't just label, look, it's a whatever. I was going to use a derogatory term. It's a Middle Easterner with dark skin, and that right there is the face of terror. Nope, that's too easy. They want everybody to be a suspect, all right? Male, female, any age, any nationality, any belief system, but especially if you're pro-America, if you're, you know, protect our sovereignty, if you're anti-New World Order, basically, then you're enemy number one. But, so it's been this continual, and the media, continual stream of fear-based thinking from the media, the continual indoctrination campaign from the media, the big six, multinationalist, corporate news media. I put out today on the fake book, I wonder how many mental illnesses can be attributed to the media, right? And this mass psychosis, this mass hysteria right now, this mask hysteria, this climate that they've created over decades to continually fear, see everything as a potential threat. This dark age mindset of, you know, there might be vampires. Better put on your cloves of garlic to ward off the vampires. You better wear this little cross to ward off the vampires. And the werewolves, there's werewolves too, remember? Out there in those deep, deep dark woods that you can't walk out in at night because you could get attacked by werewolves. You know, I have a hunch that it's a lot of the same players, a lot of the same institutions that have been around since the Dark Ages that are still creating another dark-aged fear climate in this country and all around the world. Because they know that people who are led by fear, a fearful people, isn't easy to manipulate, to control. We need to be brave. We need to be strong, resolute. We need to start acting like Americans again. True individualists who don't need a little nanny state, they don't need a little big brother to keep us safe from every imaginary enemy that pops up in life. Because you know what? Life is a scary place. There's a lot of dangers, there's a lot of threats. Right? And this recent encounter I had with this lady, and I told her, you know, I'll just use, it'll be fuzzy. You won't even see their faces, right? Because I saw something worth capturing in innocent little children out in a field of snow trying to make snowmen after the first snow of the year. If this is the society that people want to raise up their kids in, I get it. There are some real threats. But the real threats, real psychopaths, are fewer than the media might want you to think. And, I get it. We like our privacy. I'm not sure what you could do nefariously to use some B-roll of some little kids playing in the snow, but okay, I get it. That's why I'm not taking portraits. I'm not taking close-ups of people's kids. Okay, it's not even something that I do. It was just spur of the moment. I'm out for a walk, trying to get some fresh air and sun. Kind of flashing back to my own childhood, playing on the train tracks, picking up some railroad spikes, railroad ties, and so I was like, hey, that looks cool. That'd be a nice little quick shot, B-roll. Take people's mind to another place, maybe. Just, nothing bizarre. I'm not gonna add zombies chasing the kids or anything like that, okay? Even though I'm a little bit kooky sometimes, and some people think I'm a little too dark. That was not my intention at all. I think people just need to turn it off a little bit. Just turn it off for a little while. And start looking their neighbors in their face, talking to them. I just stopped and talked to the guy cutting down his tree in his yard. Total stranger. He happened to know the guy who allowed us to stay here. That's nice, right? Make a little connection. What's up, man? Having fun? I mean, he had time, I had time. We need to do that more often and turn off the damn news, okay? Turn off these ritualistic liars, these compulsive, everyday manipulators who we allow into our living rooms every night, who play like they're our friends, play like they're our family, right? Because, a lot of people probably talk to the newsman or the news weather lady than they do their own family. And that's really sad. That's really sad. So we all need to just start talking to each other a little more often and be human. Stay human. Don't let them dehumanize you. I see it. I see what's behind it. I am analyzing the psychology. There's a reason why in Muslim countries they keep women completely covered as much as they realistically can, to the point where they can still walk around and function in the world. Because it is about dehumanization. It is about making them less than you are. It is about control. You don't want other guys looking at your little prized catch, right? Little trophy on the wall. And literally, some of the Sharia law stuff, if you do get caught, you might have your head on a wall if you're a woman. And so just call BS whenever you see it, and it's all over the place right now. This whole charade of a pandemic that so many people think is so trendy, right? It's so exciting, we're all part of history here. No, this is social distancing is social conditioning. Look it up, Google it, social conditioning. This is what they're doing to society right now. They're all making us suspect of one another. They're dividing us. Politics is more divisive than ever I can remember, at least in my lifetime. And it's not by coincidence, okay? It's not by coincidence that you only hear from the establishment scientists and experts, and you never hear a peep. There's a recent Danish study about the ineffectiveness of masks, right? But they don't want that to get out, so they're suppressing it. They're not accepting their study, even though it was something like, I think 6,000 people, 3,000 with masks, 3,000 without masks. Yeah. I had my friend here who we're staying at his house. He's actually Danish, and he sat down with me and he read the Danish version of the article. Pretty cool. And yeah, that's exactly what they're saying. The scientific community, meaning the appointed ones who represent the status quo of science, which has always been wrong in the past, by the way. If you know anything about the history of science, yeah, the gatekeepers, the status quo, the experts of the day were time and time again dead wrong. Their logic was ass backwards, okay? Back-asswards. And that's what's happening today. There's an agenda behind this quasi-pseudoscience that they're pushing on us all that is completely contradictory to science for decades before the COVID pandemic. Scamdemic. Did I say that? I'm probably gonna get banned now because everybody else who questions gets banned. Even some of the experts. Even Dr. Ron Paul recently. Congressman. 2-time presidential candidate. Banned. For simply quoting a chief scientist of Pfizer who says that the second wave is no second wave at all and the testing is inaccurate. Yeah, the test kits from China with all the false positives. And the recent lady from here in Colorado who got a call about her positive COVID test even though she was never tested. This is happening all over the place, and if it was real, they wouldn't have to rig the numbers, okay? It's pretty simple. If this whole thing was real, they wouldn't have to rig it. It would be pretty obvious, but it's not, is it? Because you're not seeing bodies pile up. You're not seeing, grave diggers overwhelmed. You're not seeing coffin makers completely overwhelmed to the point where they gotta start stacking bodies in cardboard boxes or shipping crates. You're not seeing that because it's not a pandemic. It's just getting under my collar because I know what effect it's having on people. And this mass psychosis that they're creating in the minds of the American people and the people all over the world right now. It's all about control. It's all about giving them power over our lives, to be able to close down, destroy our local businesses, force little kids to jump through hoops, little kids out in the snow making snowmen with a mask on. I mean, come on. That is ridiculous. This is stupidity. And your fearful parents are indoctrinating their kids into this new fear-based mass paranoia dark age world where you never know, right? Vampires could be real. Werewolves could be real. Even zombies might exist. Signing out. I've always been interested in interesting spaces, and I just found this nice little creative studio space out here. I had no idea. I mean, look at that. It's awesome. I mean, if I lived out here in the rural countryside, that's the view I'd want to look at while I was, I don't know, getting those creative juices out. All it takes is a little shed. A little hodgepodge, makeshift shed. That's all it takes to have a little place of peace where you can just disconnect from the world and think on a different level, on a different just find a different perspective than what you find in your daily, day-to-day routine. Maybe slow things down a bit. Think a little more deeply about your life and your life course, and perhaps even get a little more serious about why you were created, why you're here on this earth. What is your purpose for being here in this time and place? Because our lives are over quickly, and in the scripture, we're likened to grass that withers away, or a vapor, right? You'd say our lives are like these dead leaves. Think of just the vastness, the unimaginable number of human beings that have been born, lived their lives, and been buried back in that earth that we came from. In the whole history of the earth, countless lives have come and gone. Yet we all think that we're special, or one of a kind. none of us want to think about. Our own mortality, how fleeting life is. But it is. It's over in a blink of an eye. It's over quicker than we. It's over before we know it. It seems like the older you get, like, the years just flitter by, don't they? Flutter by. You keep asking yourself, what happened? What happened to my life? Like, where did all the years go? And eventually, people wake up and realize that we don't have a whole lot of time left, do we? Some realize this a little sooner than others, but some are a little better at pushing it back. You know, pushing it back into the back of our minds to where we don't think about it too often. We don't want to think about it, right? We don't want to think about death. We don't want to think about the unknown. We just want to enjoy life. That's what I want to do, right? But sooner or later, probably sooner than later, we're going to face the inevitable. Sooner or later we'll have to face our own mortality. And the only hope we have of overcoming that fate, that eternal darkness, that eternal night, the only hope as I see it is a belief in a creator who designed all this infinite complexity that we're surrounded by and loves his creation enough to one day recreate us. That's why in the Bible there's this concept of the book of life. It's a record, you know, in modern parlance, you could call it the database. I don't know. Universe's hard drive, right? Of the stored memory of everybody's lives, their characters, what they did on this earth, how they treated their fellow man, whether or not they are fit to live in God's kingdom. I mean, if we do believe in the concept of heaven, then it would have to be filled with people that get along, right? It's not going to be filled with people that hate being there, that hate their neighbors. I mean, it's going to be filled with people that have been shaped, whose characters have been patterned after God's character. Best example known is who is called the Son of God, Yeshua, or Jesus Christ. And not too many people have any grievances with Jesus and what he taught. They have grievances with those people who go by his name, who are hypocrites, right? Who don't practice what they preach, don't live up to the standards that they try to hold other people to. And that's the big line in the sand. That's the difference. Jesus said his true followers do as he tells them to do. They're not just hearers of the truth. They're doers of the truth and the word. We need a lot more authentic followers of Christ in this day and age, I think, in this world. A lot less hypocrites and more genuine. You know, people who act out of pure motives, right? I mean, isn't that what everybody wants right now? They're sick of being lied to. They're sick of everybody's got an agenda. Everybody wants a piece of what we've got, right? They all want a piece of you. Everybody's take, and nobody wants to give freely. So that's my parting thoughts. Let's just try to be more authentic Christians. Let's try to be more like Christ, if that's the faith that we proclaim. It's not easy. I mean, often our own self-interest and our own vanity and our own petty greed gets in the way of doing what's right, treating others as you'd want them to be treated, as you'd want them to treat you. Some of the simplest truths are some of the deepest. Like I said recently on Fake Book, you know, how much more biblical does it have to get until people pick up their Bibles, right? Dust off that old book on your shelf and maybe even open it up and read it a little bit. How much worse does it have to get? Like, how bad does it have to get on this planet before we start to take God a little more seriously? Anyway, thanks for listening.